Honesty, transparency, accountability, integrity, teamwork, and professionalism are the core values that underpin the work of MYWO ya Wanawake organization. Finding an organization that works and delivers exemplary work in all the 47 counties in Kenya is similar to the biblical finding of a needle in a haystack. However, this is not to say that all is lost. MYWO ya Wanawake has been impacting lives of women in all parts of Kenya since 1952. Over the 70-year period, MYWO ya Wanawake organization has had strong leaders with disruptive and innovative ideas. Mama Phoebe and the Honorable Zipporah Kitoni are some of the maverick women who have sat in the chairperson's office and steered the MYWO ya Wanawake organization to greatness. The other women who got the chance to serve the women of Kenya as national chairpersons are 1962 to 1967, Mrs. Jael Mbogo; 1967 to 1968, Mrs. E.M. Mwendwa; 1968 to 1971, Mrs. Ruth Habwe; 1971 to 1984, the late Mrs. Jen M. Kiano; 1984 to 1985, Mrs. Teresa Shitacha; 1985 to 1986, Mrs. Mary Mwamodo; 1986 to 1989, Mrs. Francisca Otete; 1989 to 1996, Mrs. W.K. Onsando; 1996 to 2006, Mrs. Z.J. Kitoni; 2006 to 2014, Mrs. Rukia A. Subo. Mrs. Rehab Moyo is the current office bearer. She has been in this office since 2014 and her work speaks for itself.
In 2020, during our AGM, December 15th, His Excellency launched the water project for us. This is my pet project as I lead this institution. It was my hope and passion that we can get women to harvest water. I had witnessed a lot of water harvesting. Indeed, the first water harvesting I experienced was in Spain in the year 1992 when I was attending an expo. And I could see Spain has so many tourists and they don't have a lot of rain. Water was harvested. And it was my passion that we can do water harvesting if I get in the leadership of this institution. The partnership between MYWO then and Equity, and previously with the Tank Plastics and currently seeks to ensure that every woman in the grassroots household gets at least 10,000 liters of water tank to harvest rainwater that is clean, time-saving, and reliable for domestic use. So far, we have covered 17 counties. In sensitization, we have covered 1,706 individuals. We owe this to Equity.
Kuna grupu yetu ya Grace ya maendeleo ya wanawake ambayo imekava the whole ward. Maendeleo ya wanawake, mimi ni delegate, na tulipopata huu ujumbe wa projects tanks kutoka kwa chair wetu wa maendeleo Madam Rahabu Muyu, tulianza mara moja, nikakusanya wamama na nikawaelezea, nikawapasha huu ujumbe wa hii project ya maendeleo ya wanawake ambao wameweza kupartner na Equity Bank na Tank, kwa sababu Madam Rahabu Muyu alikuwa ametuletea officers wa Equity tukiwa Masii kwa uchaguzi, wakatuelimisha pale.
Hata mimi mkiniona ni mtoto wa mama wa maendeleo, na wamama wengi hapa Kenya wale wako na nyadhifa za juu, ukiangalia mwanzo wao utakuta ni watoto wa mama wa maendeleo.
The real factor behind the exemplary success of MYWO ya Wanawake is clear. It is due to your unfailing commitment to the social economic empowerment of all women of Kenya. As an organization, you have clearly demonstrated that the empowerment of women is not merely by holding conferences in high-level hotels in Nairobi. You have been vibrant at all levels of society, especially at the grassroots.
This year, the organization celebrates 70 years in service. Service that has empowered communities across Kenya in line with the Sustainable Development Goals set by the United Nations.
Mwenyekiti anapokea keki kutoka kwa waziri wetu mpendwa Mama Margaret Kobia. Asante sana mama, tumehitimu miaka 70 ya maendeleo.
You know, when I look back at the 70 years of maendeleo ya wanawake, sometimes I just feel like crying. When I see Rahab really struggling along in various parts of the country, when I see many women in the countryside, in the counties, still holding the maendeleo ya wanawake high, and its vision and mission still being discussed and improved. You know, I just take off my hat for the women of Kenya. And I know that this particular organization did expose the hearts of women where it belonged and made Kenya a great nation, and especially the women of Kenya. I know that we have not yet fully arrived, but looking back at what Maendeleo Wanawake has achieved in this country and other women organizations, we have won our battle. And we've done well for Kenya. I want to appeal to younger women to join Maendeleo. I know that already Maendeleo right now is getting programs, designing programs for young women in our country, those in the diaspora, to start working together with the elderly women and eventually take over the ownership and the leadership of Maendeleo ya Wanawake. And I know that through Rehab's work in the executive, they are planning the place of young women to join Maendeleo ya Wanawake and to work from within so that young girls and women will be part and parcel of this growth of the organization.
Maendeleo ya Wanawake is a fundamental organization in the Kenyan advocacy space. Championing for women's rights will only end when equality is achieved. For this reason, Maendeleo ya Wanawake is here to stay. Young women should aspire to be part of this noteworthy organization and advance the fight for equality and women's rights. Together, we can forge a society in which all women are empowered to make choices in matters that directly affect them.
They are now fighting their 2/3 of their parliamentary seat. And they are well set. You wait for 2022. You'll see it.
Maendeleo inafundisha umoja. Maendeleo inafundisha utiifu. Ndio sababu niliingia.